Okay, so fix your shoulders. This is gonna help fix your rotator cuff, and it's gonna help with winging scapulas. Okay, so make sure if you like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like the video, comment, share. If it's on Facebook, Instagram, again, like it, comment, share, spread it around. If this helps you, let me know. If you have any questions, let me know. So starting with self-myofascial release, I'm using a ball here. You can use a lacrosse ball. What I'm using right there is a hyper ice. It actually vibrates. You're gonna roll kind of the whole shoulder complex and the muscles in and around the shoulder. You're gonna roll your chest, your lats, your triceps. You're gonna get like into your armpit. Here what I'm doing is kind of rotating my arm around. If you find a tender spot, stay on the tender spot. You can move your arm around in different positions. Make sure while you're doing this that you're breathing and you're not tensing against it. So here I'm showing the other side. I'm using a foam roller or a rumble roller this time. I'm getting my lats right now, lengthening the arm, getting all the way into the lats, up into the tricep where the lats and the tricep connect into the shoulder. Here I'm kind of rotating back and forth. If I find a tender spot, I'll stick on it and kind of just move around or do some active release. That's what's going on right here. So got it on my posterior delt and the rotator cuff. I'm doing some internal, external rotations. I'm working out any trigger points, knots, adhesions, etc. Here I'm going to get my shoulder, anterior delt, get into the pec minor. So all this is really important when you have shoulder issues, is to mobilize and soften and release the tissue, not only in the shoulder, but all around it. The chest, the lats, like I said, the triceps, the biceps even, the pec minor. You're probably going to want to even get up into like your traps, your levator scapula, in the rhomboids, in between the scapulas, kind of do that whole area. And make sure you do both sides. Never do just one side. All right, so now we're going to go into mobility drills. So right here's arm sweep. You're going to get a yoga block, a shirt, a towel, a medicine ball. Doesn't really matter. You put it between your knees. Knees are at 90 degrees. Toes or ankles are at 90 degrees. Feet are dorsiflexed. So you're going to put your palms together laying on your side. You're going to rotate your hand around in a big circle. You're going to want to follow your hand with your eyes, or at least rotate your head as your hand comes around. So here I'm going to show you from the other side now. So again, knees are at 90 degrees. I'm going to squeeze that block as I reach around with my arm. I'm going to let my head and neck relax. And again, big sweep, trying to make contact with the ground the whole time. Make sure you exhale as you go through the stretch. Now, if there's any pain or pinching associated with this, back off a little bit. Now we're going to do some more mobilizations. These are articulations. You're essentially doing like circles, but you're going through elevation, retraction, depression, and protraction. So working the shoulder and rotating motion. And again, all the mobility drills, make sure you go slow and there's no pain or pinching or impingement or tweaks when you're doing this. So here's another mobility drill. It's kind of like a lat pull down, but again, we're working the shoulder through various motions. Right now we're in a frontal plane going through like shrugs and depression. Now you're going to go into protraction, retraction. So again, we're hitting the shoulder from kind of every angle. Rotations, forward, backward, up, down. So right now you're going to protract and retract. So there I retract, then I protract, retract, squeeze the shoulder blades together, protract, push them apart. Now this, again, still doing some mobilizations. Now we're going to get a little bit of stabilization. This is going to work kind of the internal, external rotation of the scapulas. This one's really good for the winging. Now we're going to go with a reach, roll, and lift. This is more of an activation drill now. This is going to help the rotator, help strengthen the shoulder. This is going to help engage the lower traps. Oftentimes people's lower traps are under-facilitated, meaning they're not doing the job. The upper trap or the rotator cuff ends up doing too much of the work. So what you do is you reach away, roll your hand over, and then lift it off the ground. Make sure you exhale as you do it. Again, no pain. If there's pain involved, back off, shorten the range of motion, or just don't do the movement altogether if it's too painful. Now we're going into more activation stabilization here with some shoulder taps. So you're in like a bear crawl position, and you're going to alternate tap your shoulders. Breathe as you do it, engage your core. Keep your hips flat. Don't let your hips rotate back and forth. I'm going to show you from a side angle here. So I'm not rotating my hips and moving a whole lot. I'm really just staying as stable as I can and just touch. There's a slight shift. You can see when I go to the left, it's a little harder for me. But make sure your core is tight, no shifting, good breathing. Now we're going to go into isometric external rotation. So take a band, and you're going to get it about the level of your hand. When your hand's down at your side, elbows at 90 degrees. You're going to pull the band away into external rotation. Then you're going to keep that 90 degrees in the elbow, and you're just going to lift straight up. So it's kind of like isometric in that 90 degrees. You're not externally rotating out like normally. You pull that into external rotation isometrically by holding it. Then you lift up, keeping the elbow at 90 degrees. Make sure your core is tight. This is really good for the rotator cuff, but make sure there's no pain. Core needs to be tight, and you don't even have to lift that very high. All right, kettlebell arm bars. These are a great combination because now we're adding weight, but it's also mobility and stability together. So we're opening up the chest, opening up the front of the shoulder, but we're also packing the shoulder and stabilizing. The weight of the kettlebell as it pulls back is going to make you kind of stabilize through the core and the shoulder while opening up the chest at the same time. So what you want to make sure of, or what you're trying to do essentially, is legs are same knee is bent. You're going to rotate that leg over, and you're going to try to get that hip down to the ground. Relax your head and neck. You can keep your gaze kind of up at the kettlebell or up in that direction. But again, relax the head and neck. Rotate over, so kick the leg over, rotate, kind of straighten the leg out. Try to get the hip down to the ground as close as possible. Start with a light weight on those. Now here is bottoms up isometric hold, and then you're going to add a march. So you're going to get a kettlebell, hold it in the bottoms up position. You can do a dumbbell, but I would recommend a kettlebell. It's much better for what we're trying to do for stabilization and grip. Again, you're probably going to want to start with a lighter kettlebell. This is more difficult than it looks. And we're going to add the march. The march is going to help you stabilize through the wrist, elbow, and shoulder. It's going to help create stability in the shoulder, help create grip strength and core strength. So again, hold for a little bit, add the march. Exhale as you bring the leg up, alternate your legs. Make sure your core is tight. Slow and controlled. You're not moving fast with these movements. Make sure there's no pain. Make sure the weight is appropriate. Now we have a half kneeling shoulder press. So this one can be a tricky if a lot of times pressing, and especially overhead, is bad for shoulder issues. So if you have any pain or impingement, don't do this one. Now if you're recovering and you're in a stronger position where you're past the injury and you can strengthen now and overhead pressing is okay, this is a great drill because you're going to be half kneeling. It's going to help you engage your core. You're not going to be able to use your back as much. It's going to be all shoulder or mostly shoulder because you're not going to be able to use momentum. Make sure you exhale as you press. If you need to, you can look up as you press. But again, keep the core tight and make sure to breathe. No pain. If there's pain involved, don't do it. All right, now horizontal pull-up or body row. Now this should be safe for everyone. Usually pulling motions are safe for the shoulders. Any kind of shoulder issue. All the people I've trained, pulling is usually fine. So you're going to get into like a push-up position but hanging. Pull your chest to the bar. Keep your elbows at 45. pinch through your shoulder blades. All right, now we're going to get into the stretch aspect. So you're going to sit cross-legged, one hand comfortably behind the back. You're going to pull the shoulder and chest open with the elbow and the back muscles. So you're going to use your back muscles to kind of pull your arm back and open your chest. So I'm pulling my elbow back, using my retractor muscles of my back, opening the chest. You do that about 10 times, then you're going to hold for like 10 to 15 seconds. Do 2 to 3 rounds of that. And then now rotator cuff stretch. So lay on your stomach. You're going to turn your head away. You're going to try to get your elbow up to your shoulder level and at 90 degrees. Hand is, palm is up, back of the hand is flat on the ground. What you're trying to do here is you're just breathing and relaxing and slowly trying to get the elbow to touch the mat if you can't. You know, my elbow is a little bit above it, and as I breathe and relax, I'm able to get my elbow to slowly drop down. You kind of just have to consciously feel the shoulder and everything relax. Stay in that 90-degree position. Again, if this is causing pain or numbness or tingling or whatever, you know, stop, adjust the movement, do something else, do it in a different position, or just don't do it at all. Again, this should be relatively safe. It's a very easy, light stretch. You're just letting gravity do the work. You're not forcing the elbow down. You know, if you need to prop your head up on something, you can. Other arm is at 90 degrees. Hand is about even with the face. You're going to hold this for anywhere from like 30 seconds to a minute, and then switch sides. Even if you have one shoulder that you're working on or that is an issue, you always want to do both sides. You never want to do just one side, and you don't want to just treat the symptom, the pain. You know, there's usually something else going on. You want to look at the elbow, the wrist, the neck. You want to make sure that everything's functioning properly, and you want to look at it from more of a global approach. You need to do soft tissue work. You need to do mobility. You need to do activation. Then you need to strengthen it. Then you need to stretch it. And that's what this whole system and this whole video was about. So again, go slow with everything. You don't have to do all these exercises. If one of them hurts, you know, don't do it. Do something else. Try the other exercises. Subscribe to my channel. Like the video. Comment. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, this should all be pain-free. This is to help you heal and get stronger. You know, don't hurt yourself. Don't force any position. Make sure you go super slow. And, you know, go heal yourself. You got to do this a couple times a week at least. 2 to 3 to 4 times a week. So get out and do it. Again, subscribe to my channel if you like it.